Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily news updates with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: the opposition in the Central African Republic rejects President Touadéra's re-election, confirmed by the Constitutional Court on Monday. Zimbabwe's Foreign Minister Sibusiso Moyo died from COVID-19 this Wednesday, a day after testing positive to the virus. Cameroon takes up a major challenge as it is organizing the African Championship of Nations at home amid the coronavirus pandemic. Our top story today: opposition parties in the Central African Republic on Tuesday rejected President Faustin Touadéra's re-election, a day after the country's Constitutional Court confirmed his victory in the first round of the December 2020 election with 53% of votes. A coalition of 15 political parties issued a statement saying that it does not recognize the outcome of the vote. It argued that Touadéra was backed by only 17% of registered voters and that the ballot was marred by fraud and irregularities. The official turnout in the disputed election was only 35% due to suppression by a coalition of rebel groups which control 2/3 of the country. On the health front, Zimbabwe's Foreign Affairs Minister Sibusiso Moyo passed away from COVID-19 this Wednesday at a hospital in the capital Harare, a day after testing positive to the virus, according to the family and Zimbabwean authorities. The retired Army Lieutenant General played a leading role in the toppling of late former President Robert Mugabe from power by leading communications at the time and announcing the 2017 coup. He was appointed foreign minister by President Emerson Mnangagwa shortly after Mugabe's ousting and retired from the military soon after. Moyo, who passed away aged 61, becomes the third Zimbabwean minister to die from the virus since the pandemic hit the country in March 2020. In neighboring South Africa, President Cyril Ramaphosa said on Tuesday that his country is determined to overcome the coronavirus pandemic by rolling out a mass COVID-19 vaccination program set to start within the coming weeks. The vaccination campaign is expected to significantly reduce coronavirus infections in the country plagued by a second wave of the disease deemed worse than the initial outbreak. South Africa aims to vaccinate 2/3 of its population against COVID-19, or 40 million people, hoping to achieve herd immunity by the end of the year. In Malawi, health authorities are ramping up coronavirus treatment facilities amid a new surge in COVID-19 cases.
The situation is becoming worse, because we have seen an increase in the number of patients, said in the wards as well as in our clinics.
The Bingu National Stadium in the capital city, Lilongwe, was turned into a COVID-19 field hospital to support the fight against the virus.
It will give a relief to the way we have been handling the patients, because now what we will be doing, those that are severely sick, they'll be coming here. Those that are a little bit stable, but they are need of admission, they'll be going to Bingu National Stadium.
President Lazarus Chakwera on Sunday evening imposed Malawi's first set of coronavirus restrictions, overruling a court ban on lockdown measures in the country where most people rely on informal work to make a living.
My appeal to all Malawians is that we wear face masks because our life is in danger. It is only the masks that will protect us, and we should observe the social distancing as recommended by health experts through different media, including the radio, so that we can avoid COVID-19.
Since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, the country of 18 million people has only registered about 13,000 coronavirus cases and about 300 COVID-19 related deaths. However, over 40% of COVID-19 infections were detected this month alone. On the security front, Mozambique's Foreign Minister Rita Kamkumo this Wednesday met her Portuguese counterpart and European Union envoy Augusto Santos Silva in Maputo to discuss the ongoing jihadist threat in the Mozambican Cabo Delgado province.
We welcome the European Union's interest in continuing to work together to improve the relationship between Mozambique and the EU. But above all, we would like to thank the EU for making themselves available to support Mozambique.
The 3-year-old conflict in Mozambique's northern Cabo Delgado province has killed over 2,000 people and displaced 500,000. Jihadist militants tied to the Islamic State group, locally called Al-Shabaab, have recently accelerated their campaign to create a caliphate in the gas-rich region. Tunisia on Tuesday was rocked by a 4th consecutive night of riots, mostly carried out by young people in working-class districts in several cities across the country. People in the capital Tunis protested on Tuesday against poverty, unemployment and high cost of living.
I came today because 10 years after the revolution, I don't feel that things are changing. On the contrary, there's a feeling of deep disappointment, especially with the pandemic. May God protect us from poverty, unemployment, and the situation we are living as young people. And our demands 10 years after the revolution have not been fulfilled.
In 10 years, there is no strategy or prospect for the future, or even hope for change. On the contrary, every year, the dose of hope decreases. Today in 2021, practically all young people are desperate. All young people dream of 2 things. Either they emigrate illegally or they set themselves on fire.
We went out today in the daytime to tell the governors that we are present and that we do not have the will to destroy or steal. We are citizens, young consciences. We want our rights, and we will not stop until this government leaves.
Tunisian authorities on Monday announced that they had arrested over 600 people and deployed troops to contain the unrest that erupted last Thursday despite a nationwide coronavirus lockdown. The day that also marked a decade since protesters forced former President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali's fall from power. On the international scene, the Vice President of the European Commission announced on Tuesday that the European Union aims to vaccinate 70% of its adult population against COVID-19 by this summer.
To ensure an ambitious vaccination effort also entails concrete targets. And that's why we are today proposing that by March this year, Member States should have vaccinated a minimum of 80% of health and social care professionals and 80% of people over 80 years old. We also propose that by summer this year, Member States should have vaccinated a minimum of 70% of the adult population. We need vaccination certificates that would allow for a clear record of each individual's vaccination history to ensure the right medical follow-up. A common EU approach to trusted, reliable and verifiable certificates would allow people to use their records in other member states. It would also open the door to other uses to help lift restrictions. We will continue to work with Member States on this common approach to be agreed before the end of this month and allow Member States interoperable certificates to be rapidly usable within the EU and beyond.
The 70% goal comes as most European Union member states' vaccination programs are reportedly trailing behind countries such as the United States, Britain or Israel, according to some European Union officials. Last but not least, on the football scene, Cameroon is taking up a big challenge by hosting the African Championship of Nations this year at a time when the country faces security challenges caused by the Anglophone crisis and a jihadist threat in the north. The competition is the first major African football tournament organized since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic.
It is already a source of pride for us to organize the CHAN at home. It's an infrastructure, it's a pride. It puts everyone in a state of excitement and activity. It is with this spirit that the country is developing.
You have also noticed that a special, particularly light flowing system has been put in place to allow our guests, not only on arrival and departure, to benefit from all the amenities that have been put in place.
I think the government has decided to keep the CAF, that it will have a distance in the stands. Then we will do the same in the fan zone to avoid the risk of contamination. In addition, we will make sure that everyone can wear the mask. This is the minimum we can demand, and you also know that everyone who will enter the stadium, we will take the temperature at the entrance.
Normally, it will be a reduced CHAN because with the pandemic, it can't go on. It has brought the economy down. The economy is no longer very stable. Even at the entrance to the stadiums, we were told that 40,000 people are entering. Half of them, 20,000. All this is playing out.
The international competition dedicated to footballers playing in Africa will serve as a warm-up before the continent's premier football tournament, the much-awaited Africa Cup of Nations, which Cameroon will also host in January 2022. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.